Your suffering is here to serve your awakening. Your suffering, your pain, difficulties, everything that you may be resisting has been put into your own life by you at multiple levels. One at a human level, one at a much higher level, what we call the higher self. And I want to talk about how all of this is here to serve you, and you can become aligned and let it actually serve you. Learn how to let suffering serve you. Learn how to use all that comes up as your fuel for your spiritual awakening, for your peace, for your deeper happiness. For you to actually progress on the pathway to enlightenment. All this is here for you. Whether it may seem like it or not, it's been put there by design. Because there is nothing else, there is nobody else. This is a dream that you have created for yourself. This is such a beautiful and loving game that you are playing with yourself. And as you progress on this path of realizing who you are, life brings to you all these different little things, big things that make you let go of all that you're not. Spiritual awakening is truly about discovering what you are not. Because most people are attached to who they think they are. Most people are attached to that idea, that fantasy, that story. Oh, I am this, I am that. Oh, this is my name, this is what I do, this is what I like, this is what I dislike. It's just so fixed. And when it's fixed like that, life brings to you some energy to help you let it go. Some chaos that loosens things up. The tight grip that you have upon your story has to loosen up. Now you have to let go of who you think you are before you discover who you truly are. That attachment to your human story, your personality, your mind, your way of doing things, your likes and dislikes, all of this, known as the ego in general, the whole ego becomes that obstacle. It's really the only obstacle between you and the true you, between the you think you are and who you truly are. Only separation, the only thing that's stopping you is the false self. So first you have to let go of the false self in whatever way possible. And life is so kind when you are looking for true peace, which is your true nature, when you're looking for some deeper realization, whether you're looking for the true goal of enlightenment, which not many people may be looking for right now. But you may term it as something as simple as, oh, I want to feel truly happy, you know. Or you may say, I want to discover the truth. I want to discover the meaning of life, the true meaning of life, not just the surface stuff. Or you may say, God, I want God. I want to know God. All this, whether you term it as God or enlightenment or peace or truth, the deepest layer of all of that, the true core of all of that, is your true nature. This is the whole process of spiritual awakening. Letting go of who you are not. Then you create that space, that vacuum, that clarity, when you have let go of all this, in which there is space for enlightenment, for true realization, self-realization, God realization to happen. And that is why spiritual awakening may seem like a lot of suffering. In my own case, my name is Ra Nichar, by the way. I'm a spiritual awakening mentor who became a spiritual awakening mentor only because I went through all these difficulties myself. I went through this initial phase of like, oh my God, spiritual awakening is so amazing, all these magical experiences. Wow, heaven on earth. All these blissful samadhis and satori's. Then, just when I was thinking, wow, this is how it's going to be now, I'm just going to sit on a silk pillow and people are going to come to me, ask me for advice, and I'm just going to be in this elevated state forever. Just when that was starting to happen, life said, here you go, have some suffering. Let it show you humility, let it show you patience, let it show you compassion, let it help you learn that there is so much more to life. And all my fears came up, all my hopelessness came up, all the difficulties in my own mind came up. Even though I had such a beautiful life on the outside, I was an actor, I was a photographer, I was very extroverted, I had such a beautiful family and lots of friends, and I had enough money, I had a nice motorcycle, I drove a nice car, and just everything I needed I had. But something in me just took my life to the rock bottom, and I suffered for years. I went through all sorts of difficulties in my own mind, so much so that I didn't want to live anymore. I was deeply depressed. I saw absolutely no point in just even living one more day or doing anything. I was like, why do I even drink water? Because like I'm gonna die, and all this is just crazily hopeless. So there was a time I didn't eat, didn't drink, didn't even have a sip of water like for 4 days at a time. Didn't get out of bed. I was like, what's the point? So I went through that, and after that dark night of the soul, as they call it, after that period of all that I held close, all that I knew as me being deconstructed, being shown as just a figment of my imagination. After all that, life took me through the actual path of realization. I found the pathway to enlightenment. And life gave me every support necessary, including a lot of suffering, including a lot of opportunities to learn. My ego hated it. I had to learn to look at myself honestly. Learn to be vulnerable, learn to recognize my own mistakes, learn to be humble. And it was very difficult. And it was also the most beautiful. It was the most joyful. All sorts of ups and downs, which gave me so much contrast. It gave me the breadth and the depth of seeing who I truly am and who I am not. And after many years of going through this and working with enlightened teachers who guided me, after getting support from others who were also on the path, it really takes a village. I imagined at one point, I have this beautiful meditation and I go into this Nirvikalpa Samadhi and groundbreaking stuff happens, all sorts of fireworks. And then that's it. That is it. The work is done. Finish. And then I'm just enlightened and there's nothing more to do. Somehow life kind of just everything opens up into heaven, and I don't know, I had all sorts of fantasies and imaginations about what enlightenment is. It was very conceptual, my understanding of enlightenment when I began on this journey. But when the rubber meets the road, you realize that it's not one-dimensional. It's not something that you can conceptualize and say, oh, now I know enlightenment, now I know God, now I know everything. It's actually the opposite. It required me to really come to this place of absolutely knowing nothing. Even to the point of I was just I cannot even say I know just even the littlest thing. I cannot say for certain that I know. So yeah, it came down to I don't even know if I know or not. It was the absolute removal of everything I knew. And that was very humbling, truly humbling. And then I was more ready to see the multi-dimensionality of life, the depth of life, the beauty of life, beyond what can be labeled and judged and named and conceptualized and known. And in that there was so much freedom, so much freedom, so much joy. Like the absolute freedom of not knowing anything and yet trusting that everything is just perfect. Can you imagine that? The absolute freedom of surrendering all that you think you know. And resting in the unknown. In this place there is nothing to do. There's nothing to hold on to. There is nothing to figure out, like no planning, like there's no future, no past, because you don't know anything. And that was one phase though. One phase. Because when I went to the depth of not knowing, the ego, very, very tricky, very tricky. The ego is like, now I am the not knower of anything. So it kind of tried to make a a story of that, a self out of that. And that was the next phase of suffering, to let go of that. I became so free that I was like, I'm going to just flow with the wind. Wherever life takes me, I'll go, and I have no plans. What is time anyway? And then life was like, again. Life invited me then to be human again. There is a saying that there's this phase of you go up the mountain, you go into a cave and you retreat into absolutely nothing, doing nothing, eating nothing, just meditating. And once you go through that, once the completion of that happens, then there is a phase of coming down the mountain. Coming back to the village, coming out of the solitude of the cave into being together with all that is, interacting with people, figuring out how to live life, figuring out how to be human. And for me, after years of flow, which was very much needed after being very attached to who I thought I was, I had to go through years of learning how to be human again. It may sound strange or weird, but I had to, at one point, after a series of samadhis which blew everything I knew away, I had to relearn how to walk, how to talk. I had to relearn my sense of self. And from there to come back to using technology, using Google Calendar, actually planning things with others, and learning to take responsibility, learning to work with others, learning to manage money, all the practical stuff, all the nitty gritty, you know, not so spiritual sounding things. That was the next step that I needed. It's probably, you may relate, you know, there are a lot of people who I have helped. You know, I've helped hundreds of people through my mentorship. I have helped thousands of people through my online workshops, and this is what I've seen, this pattern again and again, that there are people who become very spiritual and they kind of like lose their sense of practicality to a certain degree, some more, some less. You know, so I went through that, and to come back to practicality, to come back to being very grounded, being very much human, and actually being good at it. Learning to live well, that was an important part of the journey. And this is where the integration happens. You know, you may have your realizations in a cave. You may have your realizations with all sorts of magical experiences and heavenly visions and all sorts of things, right? The Kundalini awakening and whatnot. But the integration of that takes coming out into the world. And the world becomes your mirror, your teacher. Life is the true teacher. It's helpful to have a spiritual teacher, a guru. In fact, for me, it hugely helped to work with two enlightened teachers who were from different traditions, and when I needed it most, I met the right teacher, and they made it so much easier. I would have been lost without my teachers completely. I would be nowhere near where I am. Thank goodness. So, life is the true teacher, but when you are ready on this spiritual path, life gives you the gift of a teacher, if you're lucky, if you're open. And it's the most joyful, it's the most blessed thing to work with an enlightened teacher. And at the same time, everything becomes a part of your awakening. Everything reflects back to you what you need to see in yourself. Like, for example, whenever I was getting stuck in my ego in some way, some old pattern came up and it was not recognized yet, then life would give me feedback through somebody I worked with, somebody in my spiritual community, or somebody who took the time and the care to sit down and point out to me, lovingly, sometimes not so lovingly. In whatever way life reflects back to you that part of yourself which you cannot see because of the blind spot of the ego. So the biggest mirror is the teacher. The teacher is the biggest mirror because the teacher reflects purely. This is what I was the most grateful for. When I saw the enlightenment in my teachers, I could then see it in myself. So a teacher is a reflection of your enlightenment in the purest way. But all other parts of life are also reflections of enlightenment, but they have a different function. Sometimes they can reflect your darkness, your limitations, your fears, your desires, your attachments, everything. And it takes a while for you to realize that, hey, okay, this is how it works. This is how life is showing me what's actually happening. And then you'll start learning the language of life. Life kind of opens up to show you the hidden meaning behind what's happening. But yes, this is why everything that happens to you is there to serve you. Your suffering, your difficulties are actually, in reality, reflecting to you what you need to see. It's like without having a mirror, how would you realize that you have a little whatever on your face? Or you have something stuck in your teeth. You have to look at a mirror, right? So, the suffering that you have put in your own path as the higher self, you have chosen what needs to happen to you at what time as you go through this journey. And this goes beyond time, this goes beyond space. Your higher self, you cannot think of this in terms of past and future, right? It's a very human concept. Time is very much a construct. For your higher self, it does not see things linearly. So something that might have happened so long in your past may have put a seed in there that now germinates, now becomes a little plant and blossoms. A flower blossoms out of that, and it just happens so perfectly, like clockwork. So much synchronicity, so many miracles, coincidences that happen because your higher self knows when to bring in the right people in your life. When are you ready for a teacher? When are you ready for that one book that's going to change your life. Like for me, Autobiography of a Yogi, when I was yearning, it came to me and I was like, wow, this book is exactly what I needed. And when I read that book, I realized I'm here for really the spiritual path is all that I really care about, and I decided to jump in fully. That was in my teenagers. Almost 20 years ago. So everything that happens just so perfectly works up to what needs to happen. So for me to find that book, for me to even to be interested in reading that book, I had to go through experiences before that which made me ready for that book, which made me yearn for truth, to be receptive. And that was something that was suffering. Of course, actually I had to fail my high school exams and lose an entire year of my studies and be called stupid and dumb by my own family. I prided myself in my intellect, and my family, not my close family, but extended family and all that, we thought he was very intelligent, but he has failed in 3-4 subjects, and maybe he's not, he's very dumb. It's like that struck me. It's like I thought I was very intelligent. And this actually happened because I was so into games that I didn't really care about studies. So I have my excuse. But I had to go through a very humbling experience of ego death in some way. What I thought I was, like, oh, guess I'm not great at studies like I thought. And then I was sent to my uncle, who coached me through these subjects that I had failed in. But at the same time, he was also studying some spiritual texts, such as the Viveka Chudamani, the crest jewel of discrimination between the truth and the untruth, by Adi Shankaracharya. So, I got so interested in spirituality because I had that experience of failing an entire year and having to reassess my entire life and self and all that. And then I was like, wow, this book talks about God and truth and reality in such deep ways. I have to find out what this truly is. So this was my wake-up call in my teenagers. Even though when I was very young, I knew spirituality was all I came here to earth for, I completely forgot. So life had to wake me up again. So this is how it happens. This is how life works, by giving you some suffering as an energy, as a fuel, as a little spark to light the fire. And it's all part of the process. So when you have suffering come up, when you feel that there is hopelessness, meaninglessness, when you feel that what you thought you were is being taken away from you, rejoice. It's happening for you. It's all by design. It's truly there to serve you. It may not seem like it at the time. It may be too difficult to realize in the darkness of your suffering. But once you truly take this to heart, once you start truly trusting life, and beginning to open your heart more and more to what life is trying to teach you, it becomes more and more and more easy. Even when you're in suffering, something in you tells you it's all okay. Then somehow you're insulated from suffering. There will be pain, there will be situations, difficulties that come up, and you will have to do whatever you have to do. Right? But at the same time, something deeper within you stops really being affected. And there is a sense of equanimity. There's a sense of, it comes and goes, it's okay, it's all right. And you start seeing the divine presence, feeling the divine presence, even in the suffering. When fears come up, you start recognizing, life is trying to show me what I'm attached to, what I'm afraid of losing. When worries come up, you start seeing that, life is teaching you how to trust. So everything kind of transforms to its enlightened version. This is the integration of enlightenment. Takes time, takes effort, takes suffering to get there. Takes a village, as I said, takes the help of many people. This is not a journey where you do this alone. Even though you are truly alone, there is nobody else. There's only you. The divine presence. You are God. And you are interacting with God always. Everything around you is God. So, as I say, God is guarding with God. Right? So there's nothing else, there's nobody else. There's only enlightenment. But in a practical sense, in a human way of looking at it, in this 3D reality, it takes taking help and support. And that's part of the joy, that's part of the journey. That's what makes it so beautiful. Yeah, I hope all this resonated with you. If you have any questions, feel free to write a comment. Please also let me know which part of this resonated with you. It's really helpful for me to understand from your perspective. And if you so choose, if you are open to receiving help, and if you don't know who to reach out to, I'm here for you. Not just me, but my community, my team of mm, loving, wonderful volunteers. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, I run a non-profit organization, and you're very welcome to join us and mm, mm, walk this path together. So if you're interested, you can join my free community. The link is down in the comments or in my bio or somewhere. You'll find the link. Just look for it. Seek and you shall find. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your attention and your support. Namaste.